This is the one that you've been waiting for. The brand new Galaxy S25 Ultra is stepping into battle against three of the biggest flagships in this epic camera showdown. We've got the Vivo X200 Pro, the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. Will the Galaxy have what it takes to defeat these three guys and claim the title, or will it get KO'd before the final round? Hey, I'm Olive, your host here at Versus.com. Whoa, hold your horses. Let me hit you in the face with some very exciting news. We're doing a giveaway for the entire Galaxy S25 lineup, so you have the chance to snag a Galaxy S25, a Galaxy S25 Plus, or even the Galaxy S25 Ultra. To enter the giveaway and get all the details, just click the link in the description below, and good luck. All right, for our camera comparisons, we always award points with the maximum number of points depending on the number of devices in the comparison. Since for this comparison, we have 4 devices, the maximum score for each category is 4. We'd also like to add that we always evaluate the photos and videos using a calibrated monitor.
So as always, we're gonna start off with standard wide photos as we feel that's the mode people use most frequently.
For the main camera specs, the new Galaxy S25 Ultra is still packing the same 200 megapixel sensor as last year and the year before that. Meanwhile, both the Pixel and Vivo have 50 megapixel lenses, and the iPhone comes in with a 48 megapixel module. Starting off with this architecture shot, you can immediately see that Vivo's photo has the most inaccurate white balance and is way too oversaturated. Both the Galaxy and the iPhone have similar colors, but the highlights are a bit too bright on both. Meanwhile, the Pixel controls the highlights perfectly, but has a noticeably warm tint. So honestly, no photo here is perfect. In the second shot, Vivo once again goes all in on oversaturation. The Galaxy and the iPhone perform pretty similarly, but the Pixel nails color accuracy and does the best job handling highlights. We posted a sneaky blind test on our YouTube, Instagram, X, and WhatsApp channels, and 40.43% of you voted for the photo from phone A, and guess what? Phone A is the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. In this shot, the Pixel completely missed the white balance, producing an extremely cold image. The iPhone overboosted the colors and leaned way too warm. Vivo got closer to reality, but this time the Galaxy struck the best balance between colors and exposure. So yeah, for both of you and us, this was the best shot. And if you want to join in on the next blind test, make sure to follow us on our social networks, which you will find in the description below.
So now moving on to a few ultra-wide shots. Ultra-wide is really great for capturing more of the scenery in your photos.
Here's where the Galaxy S25 Ultra actually brings something new to the table, as it now has a brand new 50 megapixel ultra-wide camera. Vivo also packs with a 50 megapixel sensor, while both the iPhone and the Pixel come with 48 megapixel lenses. When it comes to field of view though, the Pixel is the widest, letting you capture more in the shot compared to the others. Here, Vivo, iPhone, and Pixel each get 3 points, as all 3 missed the mark in different ways. Vivo made Ezzy's pink sweater look magenta. The iPhone's photo turned out too warm, and on the other end, the Pixel shot was way too cold. The Galaxy definitely strikes the best balance in this shot. However, here the Galaxy completely dropped the ball with an extremely overexposed photo. The iPhone does slightly better, but the overall image is still too cold. Vivo has the widest dynamic range, but the scene is still too bright. The Pixel actually represents the darker shadows better, but it blows out the highlights in the sky. Indoors, the Galaxy falls again, producing an overly bright shot and turning the gray curtain purple. Vivo goes a bit too hard on contrast, while the iPhone once again picks up an overly warm white balance. This time, the Pixel gets it right, delivering the most accurate colors and exposure.
We've come to portrait mode, which is one of my personal favorites. Let's see which one of these can give us the most realistic looking bokeh while still maintaining details.
Here, it's no surprise that the Pixel is the worst performer. Vivo's edge detection is actually pretty accurate, but the contrast is way too aggressive. The Galaxy gets better colors, but it incorrectly blurred the lower part of Ezzy's body. The iPhone takes the win here with spot-on edge detection. In this next shot, the Pixel completely failed to apply bokeh even after multiple tries, and to make things worse, it made Ezzy look atomic red. Vivo cranked up the exposure on the subject way too much. The Galaxy's photo looks great, but once again, it's blurry at the bottom. The iPhone comes out on top again, delivering the most balanced shot. Here, no photo is perfect. The Galaxy, Vivo, and Pixel all struggled with edge detection, failing to properly separate me from the background. That said, the Galaxy and the Pixel nailed the white balance. Meanwhile, the iPhone, while absolutely nailing edge detection, made the shot incorrectly warm.
Having good quality video on your smartphone is absolutely crucial, so let's put these to the test and see which one gives us the best results.
For maximum video capabilities, the Galaxy and Vivo can film at up to 8K 30 FPS. The iPhone caps at 4K 120 FPS, while the Pixel lags behind at 4K 60 FPS natively. For our tests though, we always shoot in 4K at 30 FPS to keep things consistent. The Pixel went with a warmer than expected white balance here. Vivo, while sharp, switches to a colder tone once Ezzy is front illuminated. Meanwhile, both the Galaxy and the iPhone perform almost identically, with great detail and just a minor difference in white balance. Indoors, the Pixel leans way too cold this time, while Vivo starts off pretty well but then shifts to a slightly cooler tone midway through. The Galaxy and the iPhone pretty much identical, with only small variations in contrast between the two. For portrait video, the Pixel's colors are just off. Vivo does better, but it struggles with highlights. Once again, the Galaxy and the iPhone perform very similarly, keeping colors and exposure under control. We also have to say the artificial bokeh looks nearly identical on all of them. With the ultra-wide lens, all phones look pretty similar, but the Pixel desaturates the shadows when the subject is backlit, which you'll see in a bit. Vivo looks good, but its field of view is noticeably more restricted. And once again, the Galaxy and the iPhone are almost identical, with just slight differences in contrast. Indoors, the iPhone and Vivo struggle with really inconsistent white balance, shifting colors depending on the lighting. The Galaxy does better overall, but it introduces a noticeable purple tint in the gray areas once again. This time, the best color accuracy in this scene comes from the Pixel.
Smooth, buttery footage is absolutely essential when it comes to your videos. So it's stabilization time. Let's put these to the test. We'll go for a little walk, then we'll turn on active stabilization and go for a jog.
While walking, all phones handle stabilization pretty well, except for the Pixel, where you can see a slight camera shake with every single step. When running with action mode on, the Pixel struggles even more, with this super artificial choppy effect whenever you turn. Meanwhile, the other phones handle stabilization way smoother, but the Galaxy and iPhone have a bit of an inconsistent exposure, whereas Vivo handles this pretty well.
Time for the front camera, which means it's time for some selfies. Let's put these to the test and see which one makes me look the best. While I'm at it, I'm also going to test out front camera, audio, and video.
Up front, the Galaxy S25 Ultra still has the same 12-megapixel camera as the Galaxy S23 Ultra from 2023, which honestly is pretty small, just like the one on the iPhone. Vivo steps it up with a bigger 32-megapixel lens, while the Pixel has the biggest sensor here at 42 megapixels. On top of that, the Pixel also has the shortest focal length at 17 millimeters, which translates to a wider field of view for those group selfies in case you actually have friends. Here we have no idea what happened to Vivo. Its photo is completely overexposed. The iPhone's photo has a slight magenta tint, while the Galaxy and the Pixel both produced very accurate and sharp shots with correct skin tones. In low light, none of the photos are particularly stunning, but the Pixel delivers the most accurate colors. Quick note, even though the Galaxy's photo looks super sharp, this is mostly AI enhancement. You can tell because only the face is sharpened, while everything else stays blurry. For video, the Galaxy struggles by crushing the blacks. Vivo is super blurry because of its lack of autofocus, while the Pixel has an overly magenta tint. The iPhone does better with the colors, but blows out the highlights when I approach the camera.
So now we're going to test out the audio on all of these devices, starting with the S25 Ultra. What do you guys think? Have there been any major improvements here? Moving on to the iPhone 16 Pro Max. How do I sound? Any better than the S25 Ultra? We'll talk about it very soon. Then we have the Vivo X200 Pro. How do I sound on here? And finally, the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. Is it any better than the rest? Let's discuss it.
As you just heard, the Galaxy and the iPhone have similar audio quality, allowing some city sounds to come through. Vivo has a far clearer voice, but you can still hear background noise. This is where the Pixel really shines, completely removing background noise, though it makes my voice sound a bit muffled.
It's time for zoom, which is always a very interesting category. Let's put these to the test and see which one gives us the most detailed and sharpest photo.
For zoom, once again, the Galaxy S25 Ultra doesn't bring anything new. It still packs the same telephoto setup as the S24 Ultra, which means you get a 10 megapixel telephoto lens with 3 times optical zoom and a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto with 5 times optical zoom. The iPhone comes with a pretty small 12 megapixel periscope telephoto lens with 5 times optical zoom, while the Pixel rocks a 48 megapixel periscope telephoto, also at 5 times optical zoom. Vivo, however, includes a massive 200 megapixel periscope telephoto lens at 3.7 times optical zoom. We tested 3 times, 5 times, 25 times, and 100 times zoom. Here, the iPhone is the weakest performer, losing a lot of detail early on. Both the Galaxy and the Pixel stay on the same level in terms of detail and also delivered the most accurate colors. But Vivo is just on another level. Even at 100 times zoom, it manages to pull out a surprising amount of detail. Just keep in mind that a lot of what you're seeing at those extreme zoom levels is AI filling in missing details, so it's not entirely real.
Slow motion is not a necessity to have on a smartphone, but it's definitely a cool feature, so let's test it out.
In this mode, we always start by testing the maximum allowed resolution first. The Galaxy, Vivo, and the iPhone can all shoot at an impressive 4K 120 FPS, while the Pixel is capped at 1080p 120 FPS. Here it's pretty obvious, the Pixel's video is the blurriest due to the lower resolution. The Galaxy and the iPhone tend to overexpose the footage, while the Vivo delivers the most balanced exposure. Next, we prioritize the maximum FPS. All 4 phones cap out at 240 FPS at 1080p. Here, the Galaxy's video is noticeably over-sharpened. Meanwhile, the iPhone introduces a green tint to the footage. Surprisingly, both Vivo and the Pixel take the win here, delivering the most accurate colors this time around.
It's time to get up close and personal. Let's move on to macro mode.
Here we got some pretty wild results. The Galaxy's photo is way too over-sharpened and the white balance is far too cold. Vivo, which usually does a great job, is actually lacking some detail this time. The iPhone comes in with better colors, but it's the Pixel that delivers the most true-to-life photo overall. However, in this next shot, things get even weirder. The Pixel, Galaxy, and Vivo all messed up the colors of this chair, while the iPhone was the only one to actually capture the correct colors.
And finally, let's test these beasts out in low light conditions and see how they perform.
With the wide lens, Vivo goes way overboard with contrast and saturation. The Galaxy and the iPhone do a better job, but the Galaxy has a noticeable magenta tint, while the iPhone leans too warm. The Pixel gets the most accurate colors, but it overboosts the blues a bit. For ultra-wide, the Galaxy turns the whole scene overly blue, while the iPhone, just like before, has a weirdly warm tone that doesn't match reality. The Pixel gets the colors right, but it struggles with highlights and saturation. The best photo in this set comes from Vivo, which does an amazing job controlling the bright lights. For portrait mode, the iPhone's photo is blurry, most likely due to a slow shutter speed. Vivo is oversaturated and way too contrasty. The Pixel nails the most realistic colors, but its edge detection is all over the place. The Galaxy is definitely the sharpest, but once again, it has that slight magenta tint. For video with the main lens, all 4 phones actually look pretty much identical, with only tiny differences in white balance. Even contrast levels are almost the same across the board, so choosing the best one here comes down to personal preference. For ultra-wide video though, it's the complete opposite. Every single phone has issues. The Galaxy is too magenta, Vivo is too warm, the iPhone looks too flat, and the Pixel has tons of noise. So yeah, no perfect ultra-wide video. Alright, let's wrap this up and see who takes the crown. Our scoring system is based on order of importance, giving higher percentages to more popular categories like wide, ultra-wide, portrait, and video, while assigning lower percentages to less popular categories such as audio, zoom, slow motion, and macro. For example, in photos taken with the wide lens, the Galaxy scored 10 general points, with 20% of this equaling 2 final points, and so on with the next phones and categories. So with the main camera, the Galaxy came out on top. In ultra-wide, the Pixel performed the best. In portrait mode, unsurprisingly, the iPhone was the best. In videos, the Galaxy came out on top once again. For stabilization, Vivo takes the win. With the front camera, the Pixel scored the most points. For audio, Vivo and the Pixel were matched. For zoom and slow-mo, Vivo triumphed without a doubt. For macro, the iPhone took the win. Finally, in night mode, Vivo and Pixel tied once again. So, in fourth place, we have the Vivo X200 Pro, and yes, I know some of you might complain about this, but trust us, we were just as surprised by how poorly it performed this time compared to our previous videos. What is up with that? In third place, it's the Pixel 9 Pro XL. While it had some solid moments, it struggled a lot with color accuracy, especially in afternoon lighting. And in first place, drumroll please, we have the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Honestly, we were shocked at how good the videos looked. Even though it is using the same lenses as last year, Samsung clearly made some well-deserved software improvements. That means in second place, we have the iPhone 16 Pro Max. It performed well, but just not as well as the Galaxy, so better luck next time, Apple. Now, we're curious to know which one of these devices is your favorite and why. Definitely let us know in the comments below. And if you want to see how the Vivo, iPhone, and Pixel stack up against the OnePlus 13, make sure to click here. And before you go, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe as we are always testing out new devices to help you decide what is best for you. Links to all of these devices can be found in the description below. We'll see you in our next video, and until then, take care.